Hi there. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. I'm Catherine. I have a flip through today of a journal I recently finished. It's a journal that I reconstructed. This book uh, was originally published in 1898. So this is an old book. It's 122 years old. And I just loved the cover. It's embossed, and it's the ink is sort of a chocolate brown ink, and I just thought this cover had so much character. I loved that font that says Victorian Readers. From what I gather, it was a youth uh, school textbook. So it was full of chapter type stories and chapters from famous books like The Raven. Some Shakespeare was in there from The Tempest, and I believe The Merchant of Venice, and some poetry. Um, but this book originally had a much smaller spine, and I knew that a cover that gorgeous needed to have more room in it if it was going to be a journal, if it was going to grow up and meet its destiny and become a journal. So I removed the original spine, but I saved it and created a bookmark out of it. So that will go in the book. But what I did was I created a 2-inch curved spine. Let me show you. There we go. Let me make sure it's in focus. So I created a 2-inch curved spine, and I banded it. So if you can see here, it's got the ridges of bands on it. Then I also used gold gilding wax, and I added detail work. I covered the corners with matching fabric as the spine, and then I also did gilding wax stenciling down the spine. And I just love how this turned out. It, it's a really elegant book, and it's quite a good size book. Now, let me grab my ruler and we can measure this book and see what it is. So it is 5 inches wide. It is 7.5 inches long, and then it is 2 inches deep. So it's a good size book. It has 11 signatures in it. A signature is an individual bundle of papers that go into a book, and you can see them all there. 11 signatures. As I said, hidden hollowback spine, so it actually is not attached to the back of the spine, which means it will lie open easier for you. It has in it, here, let's put you back up here. It has 200 and, hold on, let me check my notes here, 276 pages. So it's a really significant size book. There's plenty of room in it for its next life. This is what I consider a writer's journal. That's what I just happen to call it, because it has more blank pages in it than it does printed or illustrated pages. And that means that it really, really has room for you to make this your own book. So as I open it, you'll see the end papers come from a book of wrapping paper that I have that is prints from the Victoria and Albert Museum over in England. And then what I did was I had this very pretty picture of a mother and child sitting out in the garden, snuggled up in a chair, reading together. And I thought that was rather appropriate since the title of this book is Victorian Readers. So I thought, well, there's a couple of little Victorian readers right there, aren't they? And I added a label here with some brads so that you can use it as an ex libris or for a date, for how long you've used it for, or a title, or perhaps you're giving this as a gift and you'd like to put a little dedication in it. That can be used for whatever you wish. On this side, I made another pocket with more of the end papers. So I'm going to tuck the bookmark in here, and then I have a little card that goes in there. I had it off to the side here, and I saw it. I saw her there smiling at me, and I thought, hold on, you belong in the front pocket. This is what's called an altered playing card. It was a playing card. You can see that it was the 5 of hearts. And then what I did was I decoupaged an old napkin onto it. Then I added this picture that I cut from a book about the life of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And I do believe that that is Rose Wilder, their daughter, that she had one child. And again, there's some little brads here holding it in place and giving it a little bit of texture and dimension. And there's ledger paper on the back, so there's a journaling space there, and then there's a journaling space on this little tag that just fits inside there. It's just its own little pocket. So I put that there. This page comes from a book I have on the artwork created by Queen Victoria. Again, I thought it was appropriate since the title of this book is Victorian Readers. There's a little bit of Queen Victoria in here. And this is actually her artwork. She was quite an accomplished artist. And I have a book that's just full of all her sketches and paintings, and it's a fascinating book. And then there's room for journaling on these pages. Some more of Victoria's sketches there. And then as you're going to see, there's plenty of room for you to journal. All these papers, everything in this book come from repurposed sources with the exception of this bulldog clip up here. That is new, even though it looks old. I've rusted it to look old, but it is actually new. Everything else, the laces, the papers, the illustrations, the book itself, they've all come from repurposed sources such as antique shops, thrift stores, rummage sales, church sales, yard sales, online sales. If it's secondhand, I grab it up and I make it into pretty books. So let's keep going here. As you can see, all the signatures are hand sewn in. And some papers are tea dyed. I do my own tea dyeing. And some have been left on their own because I liked them just as they were. So there's a nice variety in here. Here's a page from Edith Holden. This is a spread from the original text block, and there are 4 of them in the book in various places. Here's a little snippet from a 1908 Sears Roebuck catalog. This is from a book I have of the Methodist notices. It was called For Where I Live. And it's just a listing of all the people in 1800s that got married and were born and died. So I created a little pocket here, and I tucked in a few little journaling cards. I created this one again from a playing card, and then I added a little photo there from a biography on Beatrix Potter. And then there's room on the back for journaling. And then I made another journaling card. This one I used up some leftover paper in the back from another book I have that's from it's from 1886. So the back paper of this is very old. So there's room here for a little title maybe, and then there's room for journaling on the back. And I thought she looked pretty. Photo that I fussy cut out of one of my many books. I thought she looked rather Victorian. Here's another pocket on the other side of the Methodist papers. And again, another altered playing card and journaling space on the back with some stamping. And then this is a photo actually of a storefront called the Victoria House that was at one time in Toronto. hope the lighting is all right. It's overcast here today, so I have had to use some overhead lighting. Here's a page out of a really sweet little Betsy Clark book that I have. You'll see that the pages, although mostly full size, some are smaller. I think that gives variety and interest. Another page from out of the Sears Roebuck catalog. Little tip out there. Here's another page from out of the original text block. A little tuck spot here with another altered playing card. That's the Queen Mother and King George. So these two right here, her and him, were King and Queen of England before Elizabeth, who we have now. Those are her parents. And it's a journaling card as well. Big book. I'm not sure if we're halfway through yet. Lots of laces. Where I've done some sewing, for the most part, although of course this one is not, for the most part I have left the threads long. You can trim them if you like. I made a pocket here from the original first page of the book. So that's why the title Victorian Readers, and this one is the fifth reader. And here's a little tag I made from a book of historical photos. And I felt like putting a little word snippet up there. That seemed like a big blank spot. So I thought the high clear sky was perfect for right there. And then there's room on the back for journaling. And this is a spread from a guest book. I love putting these into journals. That just gives you lots of room to go crazy. This is a permanent bookmark that I've put in. It's actually attached to the spine, and you can place it wherever you happen to be working or wherever you happen to want to save your spot. As I said, there's a lot of journaling space. More Edith Holden. More Sears Roebuck. This is out of a little book I have, a little vintage book. It used to be quite the thing to keep track of your travels with your car and what the speedometer said and how much gasoline you put in. Now our computerized cars do that for us. But you used to keep a little book like this in your glove compartment, and it was fun to look back on. This is theory exam paper for music. Yes, you need some cards. One moment, I'm going to pause. I knew there was something left to do in this little book. This is a spread from obviously a Beatrix Potter book, and it's also tuck spots. So let me put some little index cards in there for you. And that just gives you a little spot. Oh, hold on. A little spot to hide maybe a little something that you want to write in it. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. So he's Apply Dapply has some cards tucked in there now. This is a journaling card I created from, again, using the Queen Victoria's sketchbook, it's called. And that's actually her artwork. She drew that, and that's her handwriting down there. This isn't the real thing. I literally cut the page out of the book. And then there's room on the back for journaling. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, this bulldog clip, although it's old and rusty looking, it's new. And I just made it look good. These are nice, strong bulldog clips. I love them. And bulldog clips like this are very hard to find at thrift stores, but they're so useful in a junk journal. Again, with the threads where I've sewn, I've left it long. You can trim them off. Blank music paper. Another spread from the original text block. Which reminds me, if you decide this is the journal for you and you're the person who purchases it, because it will be available on my Etsy shop later today, probably in about an hour, let me know, because I can also include some extra spare pages. I had, of course, lots of leftover pages. So if you decide that you'd like some extra pages, please let me know. Send me a message, and I'd be happy to do that for you. This is from a book that I have on Victorian cat illustrations. It's just all illustrations of cats. They used to like to draw and illustrate pictures of cats dressed up in human clothing. So it's from that book, and I thought it was really cute, actually. It's a big book I've got of dressed up cats. On this side, I made another tuck spot from leftover end papers. So I put a little tag in it that I just created. That's a, oh boy, now I'm forgetting her name. It'll come to me later. And there's journaling room on the back. And the background paper is also from that 1888 book that I have. I had lots of leftovers where I had adhered it to cardstock. So I don't like anything to go to waste. More Edith Holden. These are actual pages out of her book. I don't use digital prints, and I don't use scans. Another page out of the original text block. This is from a really old book. I believe it's from the 1870s, on the life of Saint Anne. And this is from a 1908 encyclopedia book that I have. It's just a one volume of a book, and it's set up similar to a dictionary. So it just has one paragraph on whatever various subjects in the book. And I thought, well, if this is the Victorian readers, I needed something on Queen Victoria here. So there she is. Another sketch that Queen Victoria did. So this is out of the book, Queen Victoria's sketchbook. I believe that's her daughter. That's her daughter Alice. And of course we know Queen Victoria was quite prolific. She had a big family, she and Albert. Here's another tuck spot made from the same paper that I made the end papers from the Victoria and Albert Museum. And then in it I have put I've put a journaling card that I created. This is also from the 1888 book that I have, the Girls' Own Annual. And then I also, as ever, in a Sunnyside journal, you'll always get a Two Nanas bookmark tucked in the back. So I put the Two Nanas bookmark right there. And then at the end here, I was able to save the copyright date. And it's all written out in words rather than, usually it's numbers or else it's Roman numerals. But this time they actually wrote it all out in full words. So that's why it looks quite lengthy. But there you go, in the year 1898. So that shows you how old this book really is. And then I just made it into a little tuck spot. And again, I just made a little journaling card, a woman taking a photograph. So I thought, smile. I wished I had a word snippet that said cheese, but I did have one that said smile. And then you can journal on the back. And then this also was originally from the first page of the book. So I fussy cut that out and I just put it there. So you can put whatever you like in this little tuck spot, or you can put nothing in this little tuck spot. It's completely up to you. So that is this beautiful little book. You can see all the laces along the edge. So pretty ivory colored laces. And as you can see here, when I show you from the top down, this is a big journal. And this will, for anyone who's an avid journal writer, they're going to have lots of time to be writing in this book. So as I explained, this will be available for sale in my Etsy shop. If you're interested, please head over and take a look. The link to my Etsy shop is down below. And it should be up in my shop within about an hour of viewing this video. So, you know what? I'm not even sure. I'm looking around. I have no clock where I am. Within an hour. Just keep checking. It might be smart to favorite my shop, and then Etsy will actually notify you when this shows up in my shop. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this flip through of this really pretty book. I think it had lots of character, and I think I was able to honor it and really, really make it pretty and make it useful again. So have a great day. Thanks for joining me. We'll talk soon. Bye.